Broadcasting live from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
And welcome back to the show, the OKlatober Spooktacular. That is the Only in OK show. Halloween extravaganza is back, and this time we're headed back to the Edmond Historical Ghost Tours in downtown Edmond. I'm Brett.
And I am Harley.
Another great interview. And one thing I've learned from historians, people that are learned in the ways of Oklahoma history, they know how to make it sound creepy. I mean, they do. And nothing good happens after dark, especially on a ghost tour. I mean, at least that's the hope anyway. That's what you're banking on.
I don't think that's accurate at all.
Why?
You say a lot of inaccurate things.
We've been accused of saying inaccurate things.
Like, recently you said that the alleyways in Norman are bathed in blood. Nothing good happens after dark.
Nothing good happens in Norman ever. Yeah.
So the Edmond Historical Ghost Tours, it looks like just one day this year, which is going to be Saturday, October 22nd at the Shannon Miller Park.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who Shannon Miller is? You do. She was a gold medalist Olympian with, I think it was mid-90s Olympics. 95. That was what it was. 95.
Interesting.
Yeah, she won a gold medal. They named a park after her. She's a lawyer.
She's a lawyer? Is she a lawyer in Edmond?
I don't think she's a lawyer in Edmond.
That would be weird.
That would be weird, but kind of cool, because I'd want her autograph.
To go to your own park for lunch.
If I was being served, I'd hope that she'd give me an autograph with my process server, like she'd sign the envelope. That'd be kind of cool.
Yes, it would.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about Shannon Miller.
No, we've got an interview talking about the ghost tour coming up in just a few minutes. But this particular event happening on October 22nd, 6 to 8 p.m. If you want tickets, they're $10.
$10.
And you need to go to edmondhistoricaltrust.com, and I would do so quickly.
Very quickly. These kind of things sell out. There's something, there's something about this ghost tour boom. I don't think you do as well in December. October is usually the sweet spot.
I agree with that 100%.
Well, let's dive into the interview now. Well, Oklahoma history was never scary until we started doing this show. And, of course, we had to start it in October when everything is scary. And here to give us another walk into the dark alleyways and haunted storefronts of downtown Edmond is Stephanie Carroll. Stephanie.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Stephanie, we all know 1887. Santa Fe puts a foothold in Edmond. We've got the land run in 1889. Tons of history. Talk us through some of the history of Edmond.
Well, Edmond kind of started as a stop for the railroad. So the first stop that we had was called the Summit. And basically that's because Edmond's kind of at a higher elevation than most of the areas around us. So trains would stop here, and the first family that we had located in Edmond was the Steen family. And they actually manned the watering tower for the railroad. And so the name change happened when Edmund Burdick rode the train into town. He was an engineer on the train. For some reason, they kind of liked the name Edmund, and it changed from Summit to Edmond.
I mean, what's in a name? I mean, I kind of feel like you hit it right.
I know.
You hit the nail on the head. So,
yeah.
Kind of moving forward, I mean, obviously, it's a bustling time. The land run, everybody's trying to stake their. Talk about some of the darker points of Edmond history, if you can.
Well, we had a lot of, times they were putting up new buildings and things of that nature. Of course, that was a dangerous business. So some of the times, accidents would happen and people, lost their lives during that time. We also have a fun story with Carrie Nation. And in case you don't know who Carrie Nation is, she was, an older lady who wielded an axe and went around and she was going to stop prohibition. So she would come around. She came to Edmond looking for a bar or a saloon that she could chop to bits and really cause a ruckus, but really didn't find one. So there's some really fun stories about, what it was like back in the times, and some of our settlers that sprung up businesses for downtown Edmond are part of our ghost tour. And so you get to hear their story and the difficulties that they went through.
So there appears to be something that's slightly different from some of the other ghost tours that we've come across. Can you kind of enlighten us to what you do differently there in Edmond?
Yeah, we have actual actors portraying characters at our tour. So we will actually have people that are dressed in costume telling their story of how they came to Edmond and the things that they did while they were in Edmond in their lifetime. But in the mix of it, we also have some actual ghost stories mixed in. And so those people also dressed in costume will kind of talk to you about either a ghost story that happened in their own home or their own business, or they'll be telling the story of someone else who has actually given us the story.
So whether you believe in ghosts or not, you're going to see some ghosts. That's kind of what I'm getting. Okay.
Yes.
So highlights, you know what? I know it starts on Hurd, and a lot of people that are listening are familiar with the Hurd on Hurd, so they kind of know the area. Is that the starting point? Where do you start? Where do you finish? And what happens in between?
Yeah, we start on Hurd and Broadway in front of the Shaded and Shouts building, beautiful old 2-story building. I kind of give you a little teaser to begin your tour, and so the tour guide will take you then actor to actor as they tell their story. It's about a 45-minute walking tour. It goes about 2 blocks to the south and then back up to the north in the same amount of time, and it lasts about 45 minutes. It's a pretty good tour. Adults really like it. Younger kids may get a little bored just from hearing the history and stuff, but I would say, probably 6th grade and up, they really like the stories. Some of our people like to come whenever it's 6 o'clock, which is the first tour, and come whenever it's a little more light outside. And then we have some people that want to wait until like maybe 7:30, 7:45 tour because it's a little darker and a little creepier.
Yes, I'm all about ambiance and experience. And one thing that I noticed that you guys have, this is right up my alley, is a horse-drawn wagon with s'mores. Now, do I have to have a +1, or is this something that I can do as just a lowly single guy looking for?
You can do it. Yeah. You can do it all by yourself. We do have people that come, singles by themselves. And then we do have people that book like a whole entire group to come. But the horse-drawn carriage rides are provided by the Downtown Edmond Business Association. They are free of charge, and everybody loves to do those. It's kind of another cool factor of hearing the horse clomping their feet down the street right at dusk. So it's kind of a neat little feeling that you get. But at the same time, we also have a s'more fire pit that the Edmond Fire Department and the police department will be hosting along with some of our UCO students. And so you can go over there, kind of enjoy just a relaxing time and have a little treat after your tour.
You only do this twice this month, on the 25th and 26th, right?
Correct.
Are you guys booked solid? I mean, is it?
It fills up pretty quick. We have had to turn people away before just because it has gotten too full, and we try to limit our sizes of our tours so that way everyone can hear and get the same experience and not have to be crowded around someone. So if they do want tickets, it's probably best to buy them ahead of time.
What is the best way for people to purchase advance tickets?
They can purchase them at Silverleaf Gyms in downtown Edmond. That's at 15 West Campbell Street. And it is cash only. So the tickets are $7. Kids 10 and under are free. But you can buy 1 or you can buy 20, depending on how big of a group that you want to bring.
Awesome. What's the best way for people to learn more about your organization and your event, Stephanie?
I would say to go on our Facebook page. It's the Edmond Historic Preservation Trust. And then they can learn about the events, volunteer opportunities, and then things that we're just doing throughout the year.
Obviously, the money goes back into the Preservation Society, correct?
It does, yes. And we use that money most of the time to help maintain the 1889 schoolhouse. It is the oldest territorial schoolhouse in Oklahoma. And so we're in charge of that. We kind of keep the maintenance up and do programming and things of that nature. So it kind of goes to preserve that. But we are working on some new historical signage and plaques.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie, we really want to thank you for coming on the show. You've been a pleasure, and this really sounds interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't sound scary. I think I can probably get on board with
that. Would be great. We'd love to see you there.
Oh my gosh, Can I show up in costume?
Yes, you can. We have actually had people show up in costume, so that would be great.
Is that, what do you call that? Is that a haunting or a ghost crash? If I crash the ghost stories, I don't know.
Yeah,
If a portly Iron Man shows up, it may be a red flag, but Fabulous.
Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Appreciate you.
All right, thanks.
Another one bites the dust, another ghost tour to be had. And if you go on this ghost tour and they say, where'd you hear about it? You got to tell them you heard about it right here on the Only an OK show. More to come. The OKlatober Spooktacular will continue. But for now,
This has been the Only an OK show. I'm Harley.
and I'm Brett.
We're out of here.
Peace. And welcome back to the show. It's OKlatober. It continues. The spooktacular that is the Only an OK show continues. This time we're headed back to Edmond for the Edmond Historical Society Ghost Walk. I'm Brett.
It's the Edmond Historical Ghost Tours.
Okay,
you
I'm sorry.
Completely butcher.
Okay.
The Edmond Historical
Society
biannual Haunt Fest.
The Ghost History Paranormal Society Edmond. What? Did you put that in a name generator? Because you didn't hit regenerate. I just put a bunch of gobbly spooky gook in there.
Welcome to the ooh scary.
The Only an OK show. Anyways,
3, 2, 1, go.
Guyman has been mentioned more times in weather reports
Than anything
else.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
And it's the first thing they mention. Well, it's -20 in Guyman. It's like
Yeah. The winds are blowing 800 miles an hour in Guyman.
Oklahoma.
You look at the weather map here in Guyman.
In Guyman.
The gates of hell opened up. Like, what? What is going on in Guyman? Why is the temperature 700 degrees different than everywhere else around it?
But it's a sunny 72 right here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
But up in Guyman, oh boy, hell's freezing over and it's boiling over. Both at the same time. Back to you, Phil.
The weather this evening, breaking news, Guyman has meteor showers.
What, they just come on to the weather. Up next in weather, Guyman. And it just goes to the... That's it. That's all they do is talk about Guyman.
Next up in weather, Guyman.
Guyman.
And then somebody in the back goes, ah, shit!
All right. The weather's the same as it was yesterday. What do we do? I don't know. It never changes.
You know, there's, I tell you what it is. They have bad internet in Guyman. And there's a guy who's like, you know, like,
yeah, they still
and they're
do
like, shit, is this, it's 190 degrees in Guyman?
They have one of those news machines like they had back in the turn of the century in the 1800s. You got one guy, a modern news station, but you got the one guy who's dressed in period clothing. All he does is rip the news off the shh. We got it!
Either that or the guy's dyslexic. It's like, it's 190 in Guyman. And then somebody in the back's like, I think that's 109.
And is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? There's a difference. If it's Celsius, it's closer to...
Like, is water actively boiling off of the streets right now?
Right.
Because that's the temperature you just said it is.
All right, you want to jump? Want to go for it?
Yeah, let's go. 3, 2, 1.